So 2026 is going to be a super exciting year. It's going to be a year of collecting money away. Passports. So where do you move this money, right? So silver, gold, and precious metals is the way to go. And that's where people want to hold hard assets. And that's where the country where you're holding your gold, your physical assets is going to truly matter. And that's where you need to have the passports, the right passports. And the passports that I'm going to discuss in this video are going to be citizenship by exception passports. Now, I do know a lot of passport options have been closed. Some passport options are a stupidity. You should not be pursuing those options. I'm going to discuss the CBIs that you should stay away from. I'm going to discuss passport strategies that are going to be relevant in 2026. A lot of my investors are going to collect a lot of premium passports. I'm going to discuss what those options are, the options that I truly believe in. And secondly, asset diversification strategy. This concept has been redefined for 2026. Asset classes that you invested in. So wealthy individual historically invested in assets to safeguard their money, their wealth abroad. All of those strategies have been outdated. There's some new things that have happened in the recent times, and although the world is going crazy, I think I'm very excited here because there's several ways of establishing a beautiful, a good life and investing in the right asset classes. Investing and targeting the right countries is going to eventually help you attain a good life for you and your family. So let's just quickly deep dive to start this off with a big bang. A lot of my viewers love the channel. I see that from the comments, but they don't look at the subscription status. They aren't yet subscribed. So it'll be a huge favor. You can boost the channel by subscribing. So take a look at your subscription status and turn that thing on if you aren't yet subscribed. Now let's deep dive. First of all, let me start off with the asset classes in the first part of this video. In the second half of the video, I'm going to discuss the passport strategies that you should be targeting. Now, regarding the asset classes, I think what's truly going to be very, very important is physical hard assets, legally obtained, right? So if you're putting your money in the bank, the banks and all the institutions are going more towards compliance, reporting, and all those kind of things. So those, I'm not saying compliance is a bad thing, but a lot of countries have a very heavy watch on those banking institutions. They have so many processes in place in order to control, manage, and track investor monies. Sometimes they make it almost impossible to withdraw those funds. There's account freezes and those type of things. So yes, you can spend the money the way they want, but if they don't like the way you're spending your money, your assets can be frozen, and that's the last thing any investor wants in 2026 and beyond. So digital IDs and CBDCs are the things that a lot of investors are trying to move away from. So while they're implementing all these measures, investors are not interested. No thank you to those banks. They don't prefer their cash being held like that. So they want to move that money away. So where do you move this money, right? So silver, gold, and precious metals is the way to go. And that's where people want to hold hard assets. And that's where the country where you're holding your gold, your physical assets is going to truly matter. And that's where you need to have the passports, the right passports. And the passports that I'm going to discuss in this video are going to be citizenship by exception passports, because a lot of the CBIs are being targeted by Western countries. So if you look at the Caribbean programs, a lot of those citizens are being detained, questioned, and removed from different countries. So you absolutely don't want to invest a single penny in some of those programs unless there's a very specific use case. You want to put your money in programs that are discrete, that are exceptional, that are merit-based programs. So a lot of these governments around the world don't know about your private and special arrangements, agreements with foreign governments who want to give you citizenship. For example, if you look at Drew Powell, the CEO of Telegram, has 4 passports. He has the UAE citizenship, he has the French citizenship, of course the original Russian nationality, and then he has a CBI passport. So out of his portfolio, I think the CBI is kind of no good in my opinion, and this is not immigration advice. The French one is okay. He has the EU citizenship that of course put him in trouble, but then he does have the UAE citizenship. Now UAE doesn't have a CBI program. How did he get that? Of course he got that through a special agreement. Of course he got that through merit. Of course he got that through exception. So there are countries where you can arrange this type of thing. Now there's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of illegal programs, right? They're not real citizenships. They just got the passport. So you want to absolutely stay away from any of those fraudulent passport programs. I'm talking about real agreements with real governments. So you want to have an authorization from the Ministry of Interior, so the country inside recognizes your citizenship, and then you also want to have a certification and verification from the exterior, which is usually an embassy or a consular post of the country outside. So interior authorizes and recognizes your citizenship, the exterior recognizes and authorizes your citizenship, so you have a legal citizenship. We personally work with programs that do have this mechanism in place, and that is what makes the CBE or CBM a legit citizenship. What are the options? Now, there are a couple of very interesting options in West Africa. These passports are layering solutions. So you're going to acquire this not for travel purposes or too much of travel purposes. These are really stepping stones for other citizenships that you can acquire. So you're obviously using this as a stepping stone. You're acquiring a bunch of residencies. You're nicely creating a portfolio items. You're not exposing your home country nationality in different countries. You're instead exposing this layering solution, this passport, this citizenship by exception, citizenship by merit program to then acquire residencies and set up your legal structures. Now, these are some of the poor passports. One of the best passport that you can acquire in the EU would be, let's say, a passport from Cyprus or a passport from Malta. Malta has a merit-based program. It's evolving and rapidly changing by the day. Yes, they've redefined it because of the EU. EU did not want Malta to run a CBI, so they're not running a CBI program, which is a very good thing. And they've rebranded the CBI to a CBM, a citizenship-based merit program, which is exactly what the investors want. We are still in the R&D phase with the citizenship by merit. If you are subscribed to this channel, I promise you, you would be notified the moment there's any substantial update to that. We are working with some clients who are truly interested in that program. So of course, there's that merit-based pathway in Malta. In Cyprus, there isn't a merit-based pathway. Of course, we are trying to explore every opportunity to see how that program, or if they would be open to that kind of an option. But right now, the fastest path to citizenship through Cyprus is going to be in 3 years. And yes, Cyprus has a golden visa. 300K in Cyprus in any kind of real estate can open up the doors for you from there. The challenge is going to be satisfying the requirements for citizenship in 3 years and then naturalizing. Of course, Cyprus has the 4-year pathway and a 7-year pathway as well. So that's another type of citizenship. Now, there are some exception programs in places like Serbia, to some extent in Argentina. Now, Argentina might launch their own CBI program, but what I'm trying to say is that in 2026, you want to avoid CBI citizenships. You want to avoid CBI passports because they are going to be a hot target. You want to acquire as many passports as possible through citizenship by merit or citizenship by exception. And inside the merit, either your skill set or your profession is really high in demand, it's special, it's valuable, it can contribute to the country, then you're showing that it is contributing to the country. So that can be a merit-based approach. approach. An exception-based approach could still be an investment, but in the right sector, in the in-demand sector where there's no fixed price. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. It's a very custom program where you're investing in the country, in the right region, in the right area, and then you have some expertise that you're putting to play, and that's when exceptional citizenship could be granted. The pricing really fluctuates from one spectrum to the other based on which country we are talking about. So if it is going to be EU, let's say it's going to be a Malta merit-based program, you're looking at a much steeper price. But if you're looking for an African nation or an African passport, then the price could be really, really low, and price could be flexible because again, your merit or your exception could play a role in that. So those are the citizenships that you want to target, and we specialize in some of those programs. What we also specialize in getting those residencies, right? So you get the right passport, get the right residency, select the right jurisdiction to diversify your cash, to diversify your assets. So yes, it's not going to be cash. It's not going to be cash in the bank. It's instead, let's say, going to be precious metal, gold, silver, other type of precious metal. And then you have the framework, right? The legal framework. You have the right passport through exception, through merit, or any other means, or through descent if you qualify, through ancestry if you qualify, and you use that as a vehicle to then obtain residency permits in those jurisdictions to safeguard your asset and get into a position of power so you and your family can enjoy that good life in 2026. And at any point in time, right, you want to strategize this correctly. You want to discuss options, quick passport options and quick residencies. And always click the link, book a call. We can have a quick chat and get you started with the option of your choice. All right, catch you in the next one.